What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Inside the Horseshoe. My name is Matt, and should the Colts trade for Calvin Ridley? I'm going to get my thoughts on this in just a minute, but before I do that, if you're new or if you haven't already, I would greatly appreciate if you would click that subscribe button. Also, click the bell icon. That way you're notified whenever I upload video or when I go live. If you like this video, smack the like button. Let me know your thoughts down below. Should the Colts trade for Calvin Ridley or no? Let me know in the comments. And also, if you have a Twitter, make sure you follow me on Twitter at horseshoe_pod. There's a link in the description down below. So, for those who don't know, the Atlanta Falcons are $7 million over the cap, which is not as bad as some other teams. You look at the Saints, the Packers, they're definitely in a worse situation cap-wise. But they still got to make some moves so they can get under the cap. And one move that a lot of people have been talking about is Calvin Ridley because he's in his final year. Odds are he's not going to move. And if they get rid of Calvin Ridley, they don't owe any dead money. So that $11 million that they would have to pay Calvin Ridley if they kept him, look, problem solved right there when it comes to the cap. They're no longer over the cap because there's no dead money. And Calvin Ridley, he had good numbers, right? 2021 had some mental health stuff he needed to deal with. Good for him for dealing with that. Played 5 games, 281 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's what he had that year. But if you go to every other year, very, very effective. 90 catches in 2020 for 1,374 yards and 9 touchdowns. 2019, 63 catches for 866 yards and 7 touchdowns. 2018, 64 catches for 821 yards and 10 touchdowns. Most teams will take that. Most teams will be very happy with numbers like that. So you would think a lot of teams are probably going to be interested in Calvin Ridley. So with that being said, should the Colts trade for Calvin Ridley? And to me, I say absolutely trade for Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley would be a big help for whoever a quarterback's going to be next year. Carson Wentz, Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, Jimmy Garoppolo, whoever it's going to be. Calvin Ridley would be a massive help to them. And I also believe that Calvin Ridley and Michael Pittman Jr. would be really, really good together, and they would complement each other on the field with all the things that they do. So, offensively speaking, yes, trade for Calvin Ridley. Now, there is something you got to keep in mind, though. Like I said earlier, Calvin Ridley has 1 year left on his contract. So, whoever trades for Calvin Ridley, they're going to have to extend Calvin Ridley. So that is something you got to keep in mind, and he's probably not going to be cheap, if I had to guess. Now, of course, my opinion doesn't matter at the end of the day. The one that truly matters is Chris Ballard's. And would Chris Ballard trade for Calvin Ridley? To me, I don't think he would. I say this because of 2 reasons. Reason number 1, payday. Chris Ballard knows that Calvin Ridley is going to want more money than what he's willing to give up when it's time to give Calvin Ridley his extension. I don't think Chris Ballard, and I feel like most of you agree with me on this, I don't think Chris Ballard looks at wide receiver as something that is as valuable as it is. Like, we all look at it, and wide receiver is top 2 or 3 most important positions in football, at least right now. Quarterback's number 1, and then it's either wide receiver, maybe left tackle, something like that. But in today's day and age, wide receiver is extremely valuable, probably the second most important position in football. At least that's how I feel. And Chris Ballard doesn't look at it that way. He probably looks at it as like the 5th, 6th, 7th, something like that. He doesn't look at it as important as it is. So that's reason number 1. Reason number 2 as to why I don't think Chris Ballard would trade for Calvin Ridley is draft capital. I think Atlanta is going to want at least a second and a third, maybe a second and a second. But I don't see them giving up Calvin Ridley for less than a second and a fourth. And I don't think Chris Ballard is going to want to give up a second round pick for Calvin Ridley. It's crazy to think that, but I don't think Chris Ballard is willing to give up a second and a fourth or a second and a third for Calvin Ridley. Maybe a third round pick, but not a second. I think a second is off limit for him. So that is also why I don't think he's going to trade for Calvin Ridley. The only way I think Calvin Ridley gets traded to Indianapolis is if Jim Irsay forces a trade to happen. That's it. If Jim Irsay looks at Calvin Ridley and sees he's available and thinks what Atlanta wants in return is reasonable, Jim Irsay will force Chris Ballard to make that trade happen. Doesn't happen very often where he steps in and forces Chris Ballard to do something. Happened with Ty, getting him extended, but that was it, right? Jim Irsay's been hands off for the most part. So, in my opinion, the only way Calvin Ridley gets traded to Indianapolis is if Jim Irsay says, "Hey, you're going to trade for Calvin Ridley. I don't care what it takes. You're getting Calvin Ridley on this team." So that's about it, man. That is the only way I think he gets to Indianapolis. I would love to have Calvin Ridley. If I was in charge, I would make the trade. I just don't think Chris Ballard would make the trade happen. I don't know. Maybe he'll surprise me, but I just don't see it happening. But that's going to do it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you're new or if you haven't already, I would greatly appreciate if you click that subscribe button. We're only 2 subscribers at the time of this recording away from 900 subscribers, which is insane. So thank you all for the support you guys have shown. And if you like this video and you want to see more, click the subscribe button. Also click the bell icon so you're notified whenever I upload a video or go live. If you like this video, smack the like button. Let me know your thoughts down below. And also, if you have a Twitter, make sure you follow me on Twitter at horseshoe_pod. There's a link in the description down below. So thank you very much for watching. I've been Matt, Bleed Blue, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you like it, make sure you watch one of these other 2 videos. They're cool. Also, if you're new, please click the subscribe button as well as the bell icon. I greatly appreciate your support.